Horsemen Academy. First off, can y'all believe it's June already? The last Horsemen Academy we had, we're talking about sex positivity, talking about learning and details around intimacy and sexual health. So I thought, why not, back up behind that with an expert to come visit with us today. Y'all have seen her before now. This is what's funny. When y'all saw her the last time, it was extremely chaotic. We had a lot going on. Drinks were flowing. We were able to talk about her book that we probably didn't get all the details out at this time. But today, we are going to make sure we do it the right way. And welcome to the stage again, Dr. Viviana. How are you?
Hi. Oh my gosh, I am so excited to be back. This is like I feel like it's very intimate.
That's what this is. That's what this is for. Yes.
It's a different vibe. I'm not going to say if it's better or worse.
No better.
But it's very different, and it's very much less chaotic.
Yeah. So tell her. So introduce to yourself again one more time, and then we'll talk about last time versus now.
I'm Dr. Viviana Coles. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and a certified sex therapist. I've been practicing with couples for over 20 years. I have a book out called The 4 Intimacy Styles. I'm all over TV talking about love, intimacy, sex, and all the crazy details about relationships. Usually on Fox in the mornings, as well as I was on Married at First Sight for 6 seasons. So if you love Netflix or Hulu or Lifetime, then that's a place to find me on seasons 9 through 14. I have continued to be a fun, I would say addition, but everybody is on the Nightcap on Fox in the evening. So that's a lot of fun. And of course, I love doing the Poor Horsemen podcast because they get very real. And it's nice talking to men about this.
It's different talking to men because men typically don't want to open up about any of these topics. We want to talk to our friends and use what I call bro science.
Yes.
We just want to use things that we made up and assume that this works. But
just based off of experience, which is not a bad place to start from. But it's always nice to kind of know either, it's one thing to say, this is what's going on. It's another thing to say, and this is what you can do about it, which is kind of my whole career.
Of course. And that's why we wanted you here today. So last time you were here, we had a lot going on. There probably was
head was like,
there probably was a little audience too, that was probably involved. Yep. I think we had
a party.
Yeah, we probably had a little, because on Sundays, for y'all who don't know, you can always come on Sunday and spend time with the Horsemen.
Oh,
it's gonna be fun.
It was a full house, and they were having a good time, as much off screen as we were on.
We were all, and that's the problem with interviews. Sometimes you can't always control the people who are here, and we can't control each other. You probably saw a fight amongst us.
A little bit.
Arguing.
Calm it down.
We probably drank too much. Nah, we be fighting.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
We be fighting.
I guess I'm used to it because I'm a couples therapist.
You are. Okay. We're gonna get into that.
This is, dynamics. Okay, whatever.
So the last time we had you on, you just talked about how you knew you were destined to be involved with having conversations with people about love.
Absolutely.
From childhood.
Yep.
Maybe if people missed that, can you just give a little more background on how you knew you found your space in life?
So I've always been that person who got in the comments, talks too much, talkative, too social, is always kind of in everybody's business. And again, I didn't know that was a career. That was just who I am. And then in high school, when it was time to pick classes for college and kind of plan on that, it became pretty clear from my advisor, like, oh, you need to talk for a living, and that is being a therapist. Yeah. Go check out Psychology 101, Sociology 101, see what you think. I was hooked. I graduated. I made a beeline. I graduated in 3 years, went on to get my master's, then went on to get my doctorate. And of course, all the while, life is lifing.
Of course.
Getting married, having 2 kids, starting my practice, and just kind of going for it. Because I will say, if you go to my website or if you go to my social, you're going to see me doing a million things. That is by design.
Okay.
I don't want to be that person who experiences burnout. And it's so huge in my field as a therapist. There are so many colleagues that I know that are already like, I'm out. I'm tapping out. Like, I already did this for 10 years or I did this for 5 years. I'm done. I can't do this forever. I don't want to be that person. While I love what I do, part of the reason that I love what I do is that I'm not always sitting across
Yeah.
from a couple
Yeah.
who's in full-on crisis.
Yeah.
I try to see between 15 and 25 hours of clients a week.
Okay.
But all the other things that I do before seeing clients and after seeing clients is talking to people
Yeah.
like you,
Yeah.
talking on TV, writing a book, doing workshops, all of that. And of course, a huge masterclass that's coming out.
Oh yeah, we gonna get into the masterclass for sure.
Coming up soon. Don't miss the announcement for that because I don't want you to miss it.
So discipline in psychotherapy.
Yes.
Okay. Now this is where I think sometimes people get it mixed up. They'll see people on social media giving advice or this is going to sound bad, but cosplaying as a psychotherapist.
You said it. I did.
I know that I have to because I think sometimes we reach for answers in the wrong places.
Okay. So this is a really good point. And I don't know that I've ever been able to really talk about it in this way. There is a huge difference between a psychotherapist
Yes.
and someone who is not in a licensed profession in mental health. And I think a lot of people don't really realize that until they actually try to work with these people and then see or notice, wow, they sure are talking about themselves a lot. Or they seem to really be very generic in their answers. Or they, the minute we get deep, they kind of pull back. Well, first of all, thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Like, don't go deep
don't go.
when you don't have the training to do that because we can really mess people up if you don't have that education and training or the know-all, the wherewithal to like know how you can impact somebody for positive or negative.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are like, well, try this. You can't just try certain things. Yeah, anyway, I could go on a soapbox about it, but
no, we've got time. This is important.
Okay, good. Okay.
And the reason why this is important, and I'm not calling anybody out because people, for whatever reason, may want to know what I think of something at times.
Sure.
But what I always try to encourage people to say, hey, I'm not a professional. I may be able to get you towards the place where a professional can support you, but I'm not a professional because, like you said, you can really mess someone up.
Yeah.
Talking at a surface level of something that requires deep work.
Right. Or the opposite, where you say, I can go there with you. Yeah. But there's a reason why I have to spend thousands of dollars in liability insurance.
Yeah.
Because it does have a very strong impact.
Yeah.
And you do have to be very mindful of every single thing that is coming out of your mouth. And if you just flippantly say anything, it could be deemed as medical advice or legal advice, and can't do that either. So yes, I think for most people, as long as they put themselves out there as coaches, really anyone can coach you through something. It's like you're going through something in the present or you're looking at the future at where you want to be. You don't have to get licensed to do that. That's something that your hairdresser could do or your mom can do, right? Or your literal coach.
Life experience gives you some experience to aid someone in
and going forward
and
making decisions. And it's all very forward thinking. Hey, if you want to get from here to Z, how will you get there? It's that if you're at M and you want to get to Z, coaches should help you go from M to Z. Psychotherapists, psychologists, psychoanalysts, mental health professionals who are licensed, they can help you go from A to Z.
Yeah, that's a good point because you're right. Some people may be able to get you to a point, but they're not going to have all the tools in the toolbox for a time when they get stuck. Like the one thing that I've noticed, and we've had conversations also, Brittany Noel, I think you've met before, her and I talk often, and just you all can frame things in a way from your education, background, and research you've done where you're able to identify things better than just a TikTok.
Well, I mean, yeah. And I love that TikTok and social and coaches there can bring to light certain things in a fun way,
Yeah.
And literally they can do it with a boob out if they want to.
That is true.
You can do whatever you want to do to catch that attention, right? Obviously we can't do that.
Oh, I'm going to watch it though. I'm just telling you now, if you have partial nudity during your conversation, I might tune in. Hey, this the Horsemen, y'all. You know, I mean, I'm just being honest. But yes, go ahead.
Is this like a different branch we're gonna have to go in on?
I'm just
Advice
saying,
with a boob out.
I'm just saying that if you want to grab attention, at least, especially men, if they're into that,
yes, you're right.
That is a way to do it.
Yeah.
So if you want me to be a healed man, and you want to do it in a way where, hey, partial nudity.
Okay, and that's the clip that's going to show up today. That's what we came for. So the other part of that is to say, even for myself, I don't tell people that I know everything about everything having to do with mental health. I have niched down and specialized. I want to work with couples.
Yeah.
I want to work with individuals who are having trouble in their partnerships.
Yeah.
I want to work with intimacy, both emotional and physical. I want to talk about sex. I want to talk about love. I want to talk about all those things that have to do with connection. I'm not out there telling people, come to me to work on your childhood trauma.
Yeah.
Yes, I can. Yes, I know how to, but it's not what I do every day. Which is why I can do so many different things talking about what I do. Nobody's asking me how to what do you change a carburetor? I don't even know what that is. But nobody's asking me that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why I have so much fun with it. And that's why I can write books on it. That's why I can create and talk to thousands of people about it, because they're asking me about things that not only did I go to school for, I work in, and I study for continuously.
Yeah. And you have life experience, because
and there's the life experience.
You've been, so I think the last time.
Oh, let's see if you remember this.
Oh, I do remember. You've been in your relationship since you were like a toddler. So, I mean, what kind of relationship is this?
So bad. Partially true.
All true.
We dated, first boyfriend and girlfriend, first I love you,
yes.
First kiss, 12 to 13. He was 13, 14. I was 12 to 13. But then we didn't have our relationship for 10 years. And then we got back together and eloped 6 months later.
I know, but
and
still.
Now it'll be 17 years next month.
Congratulations. Congratulations on 17 years of marital bliss. And I would imagine that just even some of your personal experience may also shape the way you look at the world.
I love this. I love that we're able to dive in on this. Literally, just in the past 6 months, I've had more conversations with my husband about hey, this really works for us. Do you think this is something that I should share with others? Because I have, again, as a licensed professional, we're trained to not
use it at the house.
Yeah, no, we use it at the house.
Oh, wait, hold on, no. What?
We use this at the house.
You're not supposed to. You are not supposed to.
I mean,
you are not.
I don't necessarily have to, but absolutely. I know how to calm myself down. I know when to wait and to say something. I know what is he really trying to say? Should I, jump off on that?
Yeah.
Or do I need to ask him hey, you said this. What did you mean by that?
We're going to come back to this. We're going to come back. But go ahead.
But what I was going to say is I now feel more comfortable saying, hey, there are things that have really worked for us and continue to work for us that before I wouldn't even bring up, because I'm well, this is my experience. And as a psychotherapist, I am trained to be less involved in that piece. My experience isn't your experience, and I honor that. But now with social, now with my website, now with my YouTube channel, it's I can share all of these things as long as people know. It's not going to work for everybody, but it works for me. And I'm a marriage therapist and a sex therapist for, I guess, since 2006. I don't know how long it's been a long time, but I've been seeing clients for this since 2003. So I know a few things.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people, not that they need to be, but a lot of people that are out there that are sharing from a place of don't do what I did.
Yeah.
And I want to share do what I've done, because it could work for you.
I think most people, to your point, position everything out of fear.
Yes.
Hey, don't make
Avoid
parents.
This.
Yeah. Don't make the same do as I say, not as I do. You know, that's a common practice from coaches that I see online, at least. I did XYZ and it didn't yield these results. So you may want to shy away from XYZ. As it relates to relationships, it even gets more personal because people couple in different ways.
Absolutely.
So you're trying to share information that may not, it's too, there's a difference between being deep or more wide.
Yeah.
So sometimes people don't understand, like you're getting a thing that works for a wide group of people when really you need something that's specific to you.
And that's when going to therapy works.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
when, you know, something that maybe a coach can do one-to-many.
Okay.
Where they can coach a group of 20 people at the same time. That's probably a good distinction for people out there. Coaches tend to do the one-to-many. That's coaching.
Yeah.
One-on-one is typically more psychotherapy. Now, of course, there are coaches that do one-on-one.
Of course.
Right? I mean,
Of course. Yeah.
and that's great too. But if you're kind of looking for something that is more one-on-one, then you're probably going to get something that's more customized to you. And again, just do the research on psychotherapy versus coaching and choose what's right for you in that scenario. You might need both.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I agree. Now, you are world renowned. You are. You are. We're not even gonna play. You are slumming here today at the Four Horsemen.
Stop it.
You are. We are grateful to have you.
Oh,
But there are maybe some questions that I've got around just how you decided that it was going to be couples, because that's an interesting thing. Couples are hard to work with. I think the men probably are even reluctant, or at least I can use me as a personal example. I would probably be more reluctant to go to couples therapy. Like, what did I do wrong now?
Oh, yes.
Like, why are you having me come do this?
Yeah, like it's a punishment.
It's a problem. Like what?
Problem.
Yeah, like what? Why now? Why me? What? How do you pass those barriers? And why did you think this is the way I need to work with people?
A lot of it just came out of need and necessity. When I came back, I went away for school. When I came back to Houston, which I'd always planned on doing, it was, I put on my card, I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, at the time associate, so I was an intern, and a certified sex therapist.
Taking those hours. You have to get those hours.
So many hours.
It is. It's crazy.
Like, at the time, like thousands of hours.
But that's why you go to a professional.
Oh, yeah.
That is why.
And during that time, when I opened up my own Houston relationship therapy, and it's still to this day in the Heights, it's right there. And of course, we see people from all over. And I personally am able to see people from California, New York, Texas, and Florida. I just got so many people who are like, relationship therapy. Yeah. That's what I need. That's what I need. And I put specializing in relationship and sex therapy. I was like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
This is who I want to see. The reason that I think so many people came to us is because I know of a lot of therapists, even relationship therapists, that will not touch intimacy.
Okay.
And that's a whole other thing. But and on top of that, just therapists in general, couples therapists are a rare breed because most people don't want to.
And that's what I'm saying. That it's really to find that as your niche. One, had to be difficult to get footing. Had to be.
It was, but I love the challenge of it.
Okay.
For me, while I adore seeing individual sessions, now having done this for so long, I like it when there's multiple perspectives. Because if not, a lot of times, and my individual clients know this, a lot of times I'm like, okay, what do you think they would say if they were here? Or go home and ask these questions.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the hypothetical.
Yeah. So
when you have the two people in there, it's like, well, and I will literally be like, well, he's right here. Let's ask him.
That is uncomfortable.
Not for me.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. That is uncomfortable even when friends are having an argument. For someone to jump in and be like, y'all figure it out.
I don't see it as a problem. I see it as the means to a solution.
Okay.
I want to invite people to share thoughts that don't fit in with each other. I actually want to see them at their worst. And believe me, I do. I get to. I have that privilege. I get to see them at their worst because I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now we can break down what just happened and say, where could you do things differently to get a better outcome? You don't want your blood pressure going through the roof. You don't want to feel like you're crawling out of your skin. And you don't want to feel like you cannot sit next to this person. Okay, let's figure that out. Fortunately, most people are very conscious of they're paying for the time.
Yeah.
They don't want to spend the whole time arguing like they would at home because they want to do things differently. So I get a lot of people at their worst and their best, and I appreciate all of it. It's a privilege.
And not to mention, you talk about sex and intimacy.
Yes.
And okay, so here's a question as we're going to lead into some of the projects that you're working on. Do people come to you for sexual therapy? Like maybe they're not maybe there's a lack of intimacy in the relationship. Maybe they need to feel like there needs to be a mediator in that. Or do you uncover it in just there's a problem in the relationship and it's boiling down to maybe sex?
About 10 years ago, it was the latter.
Oh, okay.
About 10 years ago. Since then, I would say most people come to me because they know they are having issues with desire, with sexual communication, with sexual activities, with frequency, with all of those things. And they're like, what do we do about this?
Okay.
Almost like most of the time they feel like pretty much everything else is going really well. And then, of course, it's almost like that gets discovered more than the sexual
Oh,
stuff.
of course. Yeah. That's how
all that somebody has to do is Google me to know, like, oh, she's going to talk to us and ask us about our sex life. Ooh, maybe we should go because this is happening.
And people are comfortable with that.
Yeah, very comfortable.
See, that's a different topic that I would imagine that it would be hard for someone to sit down and talk about your sex life with a stranger.
Okay. Yes, you're right. But I have to say, because I have had so much experience just kind of putting stuff out there and talking very openly in public, and people come to me and they're like, we feel like we already know you.
I would agree. Yeah. So you have I
have a leg up.
And you have a welcoming personality also. You don't have one that would be standoffish, like, I don't want to tell her. People would probably be interested to hear what you would want to say. Like, I could see that.
Well, that, and it takes like 5 minutes for them to realize I'm on their side.
But see, I don't know if both parties come into that. I think the women would come in thinking she's on my side.
So I think that's the case most of the time in general places. But when it comes to people coming to see me and in my practice, I would tell you it's 50-50.
Okay.
50% of the time, one spouse is like all in, and the other times the other one's like nervous. And then again, after like the first 10 minutes, they're totally good. Fine. They're like, oh, this is not what I thought this wasn't what it was like when we were talking to your aunt about it. Like nobody's beating anybody up.
Don't talk to your aunt about your sex life. Yeah, you are wild if you do it. I would rather you go look at the partially clothed person on TikTok that's gonna tell you what to do. That's my advice to you today.
I always tell people I'm on the side of a healthy relationship.
Okay.
So whatever it takes to get you there, I'm going to be a huge proponent. But if you're doing things that are anti that, I'm going to call you out on that.
Okay, give me. Okay, so I always look at, this is going to sound bad, but hey, we're here. This is the forum. Yeah. There's always going to be a winner and loser in a therapy situation, especially a couples therapy situation.
You are so wrong.
I'm telling you. That's how I process it.
Okay, so what makes you say that?
Okay,
what experiences have you gone through that make you think?
I look at it like whoever books the appointment is trying to gain leverage in the relationship.
Okay. Whoever books the appointment
is
trying to gain leverage in the relationship. Whoever books the appointment is taking the first step to get something better from the relationship.
And better is relative, because some people may be like, why are you having me do this? Like that's the sense that I get sometimes when people do that.
And what if the answer is, because if you don't, I know I won't get my needs met and we're done. So there is no alternative. We either go to therapy and try to work on things and figure out why you're having trouble meeting my needs and why it's obvious I'm having trouble meeting yours, or we're done. So
at that point, this is me not saying anything's wrong, but I'm like, we're probably already done then. Like, what is the point? So you don't
believe that things can improve?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that at that point, I'm under the impression that at least women may have already made up their mind that I'm out the door.
Actually, I wish more women would come to that conclusion.
Okay. So I'm off base there.
You're off base with that. I think that most women want to turn over every stone before they can say, okay, we are done.
Okay.
It's very difficult. I think a lot of men will say, this is friction here. You can hear the friction.
Now we turn it to ASMR show as well.
Listen to the friction. I feel like a lot of men tend to be like, there's friction here. That means it's wrong. That means it's
that's
bad.
Exactly how I would feel.
And that's not how women are.
Okay.
Women will be like, let me see, what if we tweak this? What if we do this? What if I do this? What if there's something I don't know? And as a therapist, I'm like, let's be curious and figure this out. Let's figure out if a little tweak will change everything. I have become, as a seasoned therapist, I've become the kind of person who is looking for small changes that have big impact.
Okay.
Because I know people, this isn't the one project. Marriage is not the one project. The relationship is not the one project they have going on in their lives. So if I go in there and ask them for this huge total relationship makeover, coming soon,
Foreshadowing. Yeah.
in one session or even in 6 sessions, that's not realistic.
Yeah.
But if I say, okay, how about when you're drinking, you don't try to solve the past 10 years worth of problems? How about if you do come home at 12 o'clock at night? Or how about you text each other every hour that you're away from each other when you're out at night? Or if you're on vacation, send a couple pictures. They can be nude. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that via text.
No, do it. Listen, and partially nude on TikTok, send those videos to me. I'm just encouraging you. We are about to go.
Married one?
What does that matter? Like, she's gonna.
We need more time.
I think that my wife will understand that. Hey, I got some great advice from someone partially nude. What is wrong with that? There's no issue there. Like, what is the problem there?
Okay, we need to create a handle. The nipple nude.
And now we're gonna get canceled.
And one follower.
No, don't put me
one follower.
I'm definitely, and I'm gonna follow incognito. You're not even gonna know it's me. Well, I'm smarter than that. Come on now. So,
well, let me just put it out there. If you have been to therapy or maybe spoken to a counselor at a church,
yeah,
and if you have felt like it's one-sided, something wasn't right there, because that's not how it should feel. But if you are being abusive, if you are being blatantly inconsiderate,
yeah,
if you are doing things that are anti your marriage or anti your relationship, yes, they should point those things out and say, hey, what's going on here? This isn't working for you, yet you persist. What's happening? Again, it is so nuanced, though. I can't be like, everybody who does this, it won't work. Or everybody, if you're doing, no, and that's why I still do one-on-ones.
Yeah. You almost have to, because otherwise people will feel like if you're only doing the couple thing, you'll even step away and not understand that there's individual needs from people as well.
And some people, and I always do couples and individual sessions.
Okay.
Some couples therapists will never see individual sessions.
Okay.
I was not trained that way. I feel very comfortable with being able to see them separately. It doesn't have carry all of this stuff that a lot of therapists were trained to think. I feel like, first of all, it's most efficient. If somebody comes in by themselves, they're able to just speak freely without having to think, okay, how is my partner hearing this? How are they interpreting it? A lot like right now, we get to talk one-on-one versus when there's a lot of.
Do you think you get the most honesty when someone's one-on-one?
I think I get the most honesty from the individual, yes, in a one-on-one, but I think a lot of the truth comes out in couple sessions, because it can be like, wait a minute, that's not what happened. Or I didn't say that. Or wait a minute, but remember you said that was because of what happened with your last relationship. So they almost like bearing witness allows more truth to come out. And they're like, oh yeah, I did say that. Yeah, you're right. So both are very, very impactful and helpful.
Okay. So now you're launching into we've talked about, on the Poor Horseman episode, we talked about 4 intimacy styles.
Yes. That was the first pillar of the documentary.
No, the first pillar. Matter of fact, you had Keenan and his wife. Mm-hmm. They took the quiz in real time on the nightcap.
Yes.
And you had a conversation with them. I didn't know their relationship was going to make it after that. But
a lot can come up.
Great conversation, but on cameras, good conversation. And then from there, we talked about it. And then now you've came up with that it's not the sexual experience that is the only piece. There's also this other component that you've worked a masterclass around. Yeah. So let's kind of jump into pillow talk.
Pillow talk. So I used to call it, and this was just something that came up often with my clients, when I would tell them, yes, I want you to have sex, but it's more like I want you to want to have sex. And now I was telling them, I'm like, look, I want sex to make sense in your relationship. I don't want it to be this like separate bucket
Yeah.
that you're always reaching for, or a light switch that you turn on and off, or a space that you go in and out of. And that's what's going on for a lot of couples. So I will tell them, I want to help you create an underlying current of sensuality. And that is for you to be able to tap into that energy so it doesn't feel like every time you're having sex, it's coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Initiation feels like, wait, what? Like, I'm over here cooking dinner. Why are you, doing that? Or you don't know what kind of day I've had. And right now it's 10 o'clock at night. I'm exhausted and you're trying something. Or didn't you pick up on my initiation? They're like, no.
Yeah.
Like all of that is what's really happening behind closed doors. And so I was always helping couples to create that current that they could tap into, that energy, that electricity. Now I'm calling it pillow talk. And the reason I'm calling it pillow talk is because a lot of it has to do with the way that you talk to your partner and the actions outside of sexual experiences. Ask most women, not every woman, but most women, they will say, when it makes sense for us to have sex is when we've had a nice, good day together. When we've had a weekend where, we're like touching each other and all of these things. That's when they're like, that's when it makes sense. And that's why it happens so much on vacation.
Of course.
Because the attention is there, the affection is there. And so trying to help everyone to understand how important pillow talk is in the grand scheme of sex, not just in the actual sex act, is what I'm on a mission to do now. Because if we can do that, people are going to be having more sex, more satisfying sex. The opportunities for sex is going to come up, initiation, like all of that.
So it sounds like, and I've watched, so I don't want to give it, because the 10th is when you.
Yes. Oh, I haven't given any away. I haven't shared anything.
Okay, that's what I want to make sure.
There's
Okay.
a lot coming up that I have not shared.
Okay, perfect. Because I was concerned that if we jumped into some of the details, but I do have some questions.
Okay.
around it. So most people think that like foreplay is like right before the act. And it sounds like in hearing, not to steal some thunder, you're saying that this is a constant theme of us being connected in some way.
In some way, shape, or form, I feel like the couples who are happiest in their sex life don't feel like sex is separate.
Okay.
Like it's a category in and of its own. They start the seduction long before the next sex act and right after the last one. The couples that, you can just tell they like each other.
Yeah.
They're attracted to each other and they let each other know. A lot of men, they will come into my office and tell me like, I don't even know that my partner is attracted to me. Yes, she has sex with me, but anybody, if you're healthy, you can have sex. So that's why I'm telling people it's not enough to have sex. It's not enough to have sex a lot.
Yeah.
It's what's going on in between that really makes it feel like it makes sense to have sex.
And so what in your practice made you say, this is it?
It's time.
Yeah, because that's a pivot.
Mm-hmm.
This is a pivot.
It is a pivot. I had done so much work specifically with couples who've been together 10 plus years.
Okay.
Who maybe that new relationship energy has been gone for a long time.
For 10 plus years.
For 10 plus years. They're post kids, maybe they're second or third. They're starting to really see what life is like at home or even on the weekends with the kids kind of doing their own thing. It's more about the couple. It's like pre empty nest.
Okay.
Those couples.
Yeah.
That they're like, okay, we're not all about the kids anymore. So really, we don't have any excuse to not have a more active, more abundant sex life. And I was like, okay, let's see what we can do to really increase that electrical current.
Okay.
And that sensual current between you. And one of the ways I figured that out was like, oh, you need to be showing and telling your partner.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are not comfortable with that. Again, hence me having to teach them.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And this is actually, I think what you were really trying to ask is, this is what my husband and I do.
Okay. That's so you've seen it in practice, and then in real time, you said others could benefit from this practice.
Because, over the past 10, 15 years, I'm telling people do this, see, and it works for them. But it wasn't until I noticed after 17 years of being married, I'm like, oh, this is what really works for us
Yeah.
is that it doesn't feel like sex is coming out of nowhere. It feels like technically we have a marriage where sex could happen all the
All the time.
time.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Okay. And that's okay. But it could. And that's what people stick around for. That's
Yeah.
why people feel like, yeah, it doesn't make sense. Maybe we're apart from each other for 3 days. Maybe you're not feeling well, but we could.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you sense that men probably struggle more with understanding the women in their lives, like just not understanding what makes them tick? I always try to figure out, how do people even end up being couples sometimes? Like, it almost seems like, because it's weird, as soon as they're partnered, it just seems like things go away. Like, they stop having sex, they stop being into each other.
Well, and they need to read my book, because that's
They
what
definitely
the book
do.
is all about. The
The four intimacy style.
styles.
It does. You're right. You're
That's
right. Yes.
all about that.
Yes.
But this is more for couples who are like, okay, we know that it is important.
Okay.
We know why it's important, but we're struggling with making it make sense.
Gotcha.
And I will tell you, for a lot of the men that I work with, it's more that they almost feel like they don't, like they shouldn't think about it so much. Like they shouldn't need their partner's validation, or they shouldn't need their partner to tell them, I'm attracted to you. Like almost like, well, that's just not the way that women are. No, but you're in a long-term relationship. It's a totally different animal than if you're just out there at the club or, you're on the streets, that sort of thing. In long-term relationships, it does have to be both partners.
Okay.
It does. You both have to be contributing to the pillow talk.
Yeah.
And if you don't, it's going to cause a problem. I've seen it, y'all. Like, I've seen it all the time in my office. This is what people are coming in for. There are problems, and a lot of them can be remedied by increasing the pillow talk, finding out and how to round out your intimacy style. Like doing all that can make such big differences. And again, some of them can feel like they're huge changes, but it's small tweaks. Yeah,
they're on the margins. It's never, I can't imagine, or at least in the interactions I've had with you, I can't imagine you telling someone, you're like, you're wrong, never do this again. But I could see you reframing something.
Yes.
To redirect maybe, okay, you're not getting the results you want by this.
I wonder what would happen if you tried this.
Yeah.
Or what do you think you can do differently? I'm not the one that has to go home and do any of it.
Yeah.
Again, something that is drilled into me during my education and training. You can't just tell people. It's not. So we actually, as a therapist, there's a distinction that may not be as like big as the coaching therapy thing. Coaching and therapy and counseling.
Okay.
So there's advice giving,
yeah,
right? And therapy is just it's its whole like ecosystem of feelings and emotions and activities and thoughts and all of that. So I would say I'm not the kind of person who I can give advice. I do that online all the time. You can get it for free all over my website, everywhere. But I'm very collaborative because again, I'm not the one that has to ask for the divorce.
Yeah.
I'm not the one who has to initiate 3 times. I'm not the one having to do that. So I'm very conscious of like what's going to work for y'all. Because I also want to set up my clients for success.
Agree. Yeah, you don't want to put people in position to fail.
Yeah.
Like that makes no sense. Like, why would someone come to you and every outcome that they get is we're no longer together?
So much so, I have an intimate reconnection course online.
Okay.
That I never talk about. And I say that, which is kind of bad business, but it's not for everyone.
It's not. Yeah.
It is very specifically for certain situations that I've been working with for the past 20 years. And it's called the Dr. Viviana Method for Intimate Reconnection. I don't even know if it's live on my website because it is more for people who tell me, hey, Dr. V, this is what we're going through.
Yeah.
And that's when I almost qualify it for them. So I take it very seriously. I'm not just telling people to do whatever willy-nilly and let's see what happens. I want them to actually be set up for success.
Okay.
Especially, something that you didn't ask, but a lot of people do wonder is, do you ever tell people not to have sex?
Yeah.
And I remember when I was on Married at First Sight, it was one of the assignments that I gave this one particular couple going through this one particular issue. And it was split 50-50 in the comments of all the posts and on the, website forums and all that. Oh my gosh, that is so brilliant because they're so focused on this and it should be like this. And other people are like, no, but if you take that off the table, they have nothing. It really, I do tell people sometimes, hey, let's, at least for the next like couple of weeks while we're working through this, let's take sex off the table, because the next time you do have sex, I want you to feel more confident that it's going to go well.
And even then it may not go well.
Right. But at least you both are on the same page about it.
Yeah.
And it's okay, well, we knew this could possibly happen. Whereas, some coaches will just say, just do it. Actually, some therapists will tell them, just do it. Oh, you're having trouble getting more sex on the couch. Just do it. Just do it. It's so much deeper than that. Yeah.
Now so they're in for a treat. Tell them again about this. And then I've got a few follow-up questions before we wrap, because we want to give some advice. We've got a good split audience, 50-50 men and women. I would imagine some of them have a challenge or two, and we want to give a little advice.
Great.
But first, we want to make sure that if they're interested, which you will be, that they get a chance to participate in the masterclass.
Yes.
How can they find this information, where, et cetera?
It's live. It's online. It's free. You can sign up at pillowtalkmasterclass.com.
I think he needs to sign up for it right now. This young man that's working right there. Okay.
I just got the ding. And it's, again, nobody's going to be, put on blast.
Yeah.
But I do want to see as many people out there as possible, because keeping the spark alive, that's like one of the number one questions I get is, how do we keep the spark alive? Pillow Talk is how you do it. And I'm going to tell you all about it. You won't have heard any of these things in any of my interviews, because I want to make sure that the right people are getting the information, right? Course. So go to pillowtalkmasterclass.com this Monday, June 10th at 12:30 Central.
Okay.
It's just an hour. So get rid of all the distractions and put yourself in the zone, and let's do this.
Okay. So let's give maybe some action items, nothing related to Pillow Talk.
Yeah.
Just related in general on things that you may see men and women, ways that if they want to have more fulfilling sex, other than Pillow Talk, of course, because we're going to continue to push that. Give maybe a woman one piece of advice that you would recommend, because like we talked about before, men are usually the ones who have this on their brain at all times. Yes. How can I solve this Rubik's Cube of having intimacy?
How do I make the puzzle together? So one thing that I think women can do more of is allowing themselves to have more sexy thought. I think a lot of women would benefit from listening to more erotica, reading more erotica. We're not as adept at like allowing sexual fantasies to just come in. I have something coming up in the future for that as well.
There's gonna be something, y'all.
I'm gonna try to cover all the bases. I have so much fun with coming up with things that are for the masses.
Okay.
But I don't just do it because I want to be really thoughtful about it. So making sure you're listening to that, that kind of can help you to get yourself in a more sexy headspace. And when that happens, again, you're contributing to that underlying current of sensuality. Something that men can do is really read the room. I need you to read the room. If your partner seems frustrated, tired, flustered, stressed, don't think, okay, what can I do to get her to a place where she can have sex with me? Think, what can I do to lessen the load?
Yeah.
Gosh, there's a lot of puns going on there, but I feel like it's so important for a lot of men to just be like, okay, if my goal is to have sex, then they're thinking, what can I do right now to make it happen? Like, think about what can happen in the next 48 hours. And that's where that seduction comes in.
Yeah.
You are making sure that the laundry's put away. So one thing that my husband did, he's so sweet. He put water with my lunch today.
Yeah.
I don't drink water. But that's the sort of thing that now every time I grab it today, I'm thinking, thank you, husband.
Yeah.
And yes, that makes me feel closer to him. That makes me remind me that we're on the same team.
Yeah.
Anything that you can do to make life easier for your partner. You're not going to make it easy.
Yeah.
You're not going to spoil each other, right? But you're going to make things easier within reason.
Yeah.
So if that means making 2 cups of coffee in the morning instead of just your one, or if that means texting, hey, remember, it's your turn to pick up the kids from school. it's not like something you have to do, but it's something that really makes you remember, like, oh, gosh, we care about each other. And all of that contributes to it. And of course, there are more actual, like, sexually
Oh, no doubt.
and
Yeah.
sensually more direct
But
ways
they got to go to
that.
Pillow Talk for that.
They got to go to
Yeah,
Pillow Talk.
they're not getting that today. They got to go to Pillow Talk for that. But no, this has been a pleasure. I know that we've had a few opportunities. I hope we continue to develop a relationship where we can work together, share this content, share these stories, because all communities, whether small or large, need to hear what you've got going on, because the one undercurrent that keeps us all alive is sex.
Yes.
Like there is no people if we're not engaging in some form of sexual activity.
So anything to make that more fun.
Yeah, agreed. It doesn't have to be work.
Right.
It does not have to be work. So please tell the people where they can find you again, all that good stuff as we wrap.
Check everything out. Dr. Viviana. Spell out Dr. DoctorViviana. I'm always posting to drvivianatv.com, drviviana.com/podcasts. Everything is there. My YouTube channel, I haven't gotten a lot of love there.
We'll talk. Let's talk.
Let's talk about that. But check out my YouTube channel, my socials. Everything is spelled out Dr. Viviana.
Okay. Y'all heard it here. Pillow Talk, 12:30 Central on the 10th. This will be out tomorrow. So y'all will see her Monday.
I can't wait to see all of you.
Thank you so much. We're out.
Thanks.